We've both had quite interesting journeys in how our businesses occurred and how they've developed. I'm going to start, if that's okay. My name's Jackie Ford and I am from Scotland, in case you couldn't tell by the accent. To give you my background is my qualifications are in nursing and midwifery, and I spent about 8 or 9 years as a nurse and a midwife. And then I went to work in pharmaceutical sales, and I stayed in that industry, pharmaceutical sales and medical device sales, for 27 years. So I have a corporate background of carrying the bag in sales, marketing, being a business unit director, and also working in government affairs. So talking to politicians on behalf of the various blue chip organisations that I worked with. It's been a very, very interesting journey. So my background has always been about health and well-being. And about 5 years ago, my mother passed away, and at the same time as my mother passed away, I was given the opportunity to either take a job in London, which being a Scottish person you wouldn't want to do, or just taking the redundancy money and creating my own business. And I did that, and I went into business with a colleague, and we developed a not-for-profit business that was looking at health inequalities. But that business didn't work out because that business was created from a place of fear. I was leaving corporate, doing my own thing, wanted to make money, wanted to do everything that I had done in the past. And it just didn't work out. And it didn't work out in a nice way at the end, unfortunately. And about 3+ years ago, I came across this understanding, the principles. And when I'd gone out of business with this guy, I decided I'd create my own businesses. So I created a for-profit business and a not-for-profit business, again created out of fear. But both those businesses did really well, and I was earning 6 figures from those 2 businesses within about 3 or 4 months. Because people knew me, they knew my business skills, and they knew that I had lots of contacts within the various industries that I'd worked in for 30 odd years. But something didn't feel right, so didn't feel right. And last year I went to do formal studying of this understanding the principles with the One Thought Institute. And after the first weekend, I took both my business websites down. Completely down. I thought, I have no clue what these businesses are about. One was called the Wellbeing Alliance and the other one was a public affairs agency. I thought, I really don't know what these businesses are about. They don't feel right. And what I let happen was, I didn't chase clients, I didn't look for business, and my income, 6 figures, started to go like this. As you can imagine, I wasn't chasing business, wasn't looking for it. Now, there's a lot of thinking that happens when one's income is going down like this. And you would expect your well-being to go down like this as well, on a similar path. I am so grateful that that is not what happened to me. Because my understanding was deepening, I started to see that my well-being wasn't linked to the amount of money that I made. And not only that, my husband started to see that too, which was a joy because I would look at him getting uptight about bank statements because we have 3 daughters, 2 of them at university, etc., etc. So while this is all happening, I was like, please tell me what these businesses are meant to be doing. I knew it was meant to be something to do with this understanding. I knew it was. And I've spoken to so many people, when you come across this understanding, you can almost negate all of your past life experience because you just want to talk about the principles. And that's what I was doing. I thought, no, it's just to be about the principles. I've not to do the public affairs, campaigning. I've not to build strategies for anybody. Oh, no, that's dirty. I've not to do that. And then, all of a sudden, I found myself doing things. I had a thought when I was at the 3PGC conference in London at Teakin, and I said to Karen, who's sitting in the audience, I'm going to hold a meeting at the Scottish Parliament about these principles. just a little seed. Just let it flow, had a couple of other ideas. By the time I got to 3PGC conference in Minnesota, I'm up speaking to Elsie Spittle. Elsie, will you come over to Scotland and speak with me at the Scottish Parliament on this panel? Jack Pransky. I went around collecting people. Collect stamps. Will you do this with me? Will you do that with me? They all said yes. Went up to Judy Banks. Hey Judy, will you come? You know, as well, all of a sudden I had a team of people who were willing to support what it was my vision was. Still no website, still no income. We held the meeting at the Scottish Parliament. Lots of government organisations came and listened, as well as people from the 3P community. All of a sudden I found myself having invitations to go back in and speak to the Scottish Government Director in Health, mental wellbeing, health inequalities. Fascinating. Still no clarity around what this business is meant to do. And then I got a call from a pharmaceutical company who said, Jackie, we want to work with you. We don't want to work with anybody else. We just want to work with you. You don't need to pitch for business. This is what we want you to do. And it's a project around showing governments in the UK how they can save money by prescribing a certain product without quality being compromised for patients in any way. And I thought, okay, I'll have a chat with you. And then another company came on board, and before I knew where I was, the other business had taken care of itself, the consulting business had taken care of itself, and for 10 days work a month, I'm earning high five figures. The charity, the non-profit side of things, still no clarity. Now this is a year and a half, and I went to see Judy Sedgman speak in Dublin. At the end of listening to Judy Sedgman speak, I sat on the plane with my iPhone. Oh, that does that, that does that, that does that. 5 minutes it took me to decide what this non-profit was going to do. 5 minutes. And within the last, this was in the middle of September, I saw Judy Sedgman. In that period of time, the Wellbeing Alliance, which is a non-profit, is now going to be a 3 Principles political campaigning organisation to support people throughout the world. That's my background. Why wouldn't I use that to help people? I've already done intensives with politicians. It just makes sense. But I was fighting against something to do with that somewhere in my head. Then I thought, oh yeah, there's the Wellbeing Alliance Academy. That will show people how to live their life and increase their health and well-being through this understanding. Boom. And then it was like, oh, I love working with women. Oh, onewoman.global. Onewoman.global gets built, and you know, I met someone last year and we start building all of that. And there's a programme I've been running for the last couple of years called the Wellbeing Alliance Ambassadors Programme, where I've been working with, in partnership with Basketball Scotland, and we work with their under 16 and under 18 girls. And I've been sharing this understanding with them for the last 3 or 4 years. And I then take them into schools in areas of disadvantage. And the girls teach their peers what this means. And they teach the kids really cool behind the back passes, alley-oops, basketball tricks like you wouldn't believe. And these kids get to see that athletes who compete at a national level they're pretty. They don't look like Russian wrestlers. That they're lovely people, and they've got an ease and life about them that is possible for all of us. So from creating businesses from a place of fear with just a little bit of clarity, I now have businesses that I've created from a place of love. Am I earning as much as I would like to? Hell yeah. But it really doesn't matter. I think what I've enjoyed about this journey, Jacqueline, is what I learned through the dark periods, what I learned through the periods where I didn't know what I was doing, the uncomfortableness of, oh my goodness, I'm procrastinating. You know, I'm procrastinating. Why have I not got clarity in this? And what I came to realise was what was going on was germinating. I wasn't procrastinating. It was growing within me.
Gorgeous. And wow.
Yeah. the whole thing as well about, you know, so you'd look at that and you say, oh my God, she's so busy, and it's not like that at all. I love what I'm doing. I really love what I'm doing. I really, really love what I'm doing.
Wow. So when I was thinking about how to best serve you guys, and we haven't prepared at all, we both came up with the same thing. And one of a little bit of an offshoot is I live in complete trust of this, and yet every day I'm in awe of it too, and that's so delicious. It occurred to me that I remember I've been around sort of principals only about 4 years, about the same, and it occurred to me that for a little while I worked with every principal's coach, and it used to frustrate the life out of me when he would say, well, you know, let your wisdom guide you. When I'd say, but I don't know how to run a program, or I don't know how to do a business, or I don't know anything about this. So that occurred to me as being the place to talk about, and riffing off what Jackie's just said, that the power of even glimpsing this for a moment is the thing that then just goes. So it's not about what's thought, mind or consciousness, and this has been reminded to me even more this morning with Jenny and Rudy. The power of a tiny, tiny insight is the thing that's important, nothing else, because the rest is all in our thinking. And to give that a shape, that's what's led me to running a non-profit business now that I love and cherish. I never ever imagined. I said to Karen earlier that I thought my business would be swanking around plush hotels in Hawaii, you know, working with executives, and there I am in a grubby prison in the East Midlands, you know, feeling blessed. As Tony described earlier, they teach me. But to give you a shape of what I mean by the power of just having a glimpse, is that I get less in my own way. So when an idea occurs, it's whoosh into action without me even knowing it's occurred. And I'll tell you a story that backs that up, which even now I keep going, really? So you've heard of Jan and Chip Chipman, yeah? So they came to London and they did a weekend, and I was unable to attend. And I stay in nearby the prison for 2 nights. So I do work in there during the week. And these community nights come up all the time, and I delete because I don't have time to do them. And on 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, the email comes in, Jan and Chip are at the community night, and I'm about to delete, and I thought, yeah, hell, I'll go for it. So booked the ticket, so the next day I'm on the train going to London in the evening after a day in prison. As you do.
Day release.
Day release. And I go and sit in the beautiful space that Jan and Chip create, and just got moved, and it was wonderful. And I just had a thought while I was there, wouldn't it be cool if they came into prison tomorrow? And so I had to get the 10 o'clock train home, back to rugby. So I'm jostling to speak to them because everybody wants to speak to them. So I say hello to Chip and I say, do you want to come to prison tomorrow? As it happens, by the way, I met them in Starbucks accidentally earlier on, so I'd already had an introduction and sort of been able to say that this is the work that I was doing. He says, oh, I don't know. So I speak to Jan and she said, oh, I don't know, we'd love to, but we're in Watford, and there was all logistical stuff. And somebody said this to me earlier, I think it was Julie, said, you had nothing on it. And I didn't, I had nothing on it. It was just an idea occurred to me. I went and asked. It was cool if they didn't, and it was cool if they did. And I got dragged off to go and get my train, which, by the way, was an hour and 45 minutes delayed. So I really didn't have to rush off. But that gave me time to look at what the logistics might be and send them some information. And that was that. I got in at 1:30. I was in prison the next day by 7:30. So I had about 4 hours sleep. So I wake up at 6 o'clock and thinking, oh, I've had 4 hours sleep. And I have an email from Jan saying, we're on the train. Oh. We're coming to spend the day in prison with you, or the morning. So immediately, funnily enough, I didn't feel tired anymore. So I have 2 groups on a Thursday, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. My colleague, bless her, said, how about we get 2 groups together? Oh, I said, no, that's too messy. You have to ring all these wings and it's just messy. No, let's keep it simple. I went in and printed our lists for the guys that we've got, and I could see their little faces, the afternoon men, and I thought, oh, I can't let them miss out on this. So then I said, come on then, let's do it. So we had 10 minutes to reorganise the whole day, which in a prison system, you wouldn't believe it. But we did it, and we got most of them. And then we spent the morning with Jan and Chip Chipman and my boys. And my colleague who works with me in the afternoon, we cancelled her because she comes up from London to work with me. And she said, I saw you last night, and then I woke up and between the time when I saw you and I woke up this morning, this whole thing has been created. How did that happen? And I think that's a really, really good example of, I had an idea and I had no thinking around that, I just followed it. And lots of times I do have thinking around it. But the power of having glimpsed even the tiniest bit that I've glimpsed means that I don't add anything into the mix. I'm able to be fresh and follow it and go with it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and if it does work, it's... Dr. Aaron Turner says, you know, given the chance, mind always over-delivers. Mm-hmm. And, you know, who knew? Like, I literally kept pinching myself thinking, I'm still at Euston Station, and I've fallen asleep, and like I'm going to wake up in a minute, and then I'm going to have to go back to the B&B and then go to prison in the morning. I couldn't believe it. And really, that's how my business has grown. Really, I have little to do with it. I just follow. Mm. And then I get back this enormous thing that I could never have envisaged. So to just bring that back to how does it best serve you, and when I remembered, and you're probably all far, far more enlightened than I was, because I'm a very slow learner. Is people talk about getting out of your own way, but then that becomes a thing. But there's no thing. So I would say be okay with whatever small, tiny thing that's occurred to you, because that, as you said, germinates and does its thing.